Now you're welcome along to the Maroon and White pod. So we're here now to look ahead to Galway versus Tipperary at 3:45 on Sunday in Pearse Stadium, the opening round of the National Hurling League. And I'm joined by Craig Lally and Willie Maher to look ahead to the game. Willie, first off, congratulations on the new role, National Head of Hurling. Are you excited for the next few months?
Yeah, no, look, can't wait, Paul. Delighted, I suppose, as we're all hurling fans up and down the country. As regards, this is the dream job for me and someone like me, as regards being engrossed in hurling all my life. So it's can't wait to get going. I'm not starting till the first week in April, so I have a bit of lead in time as regards. I have to work out time with my current employer, and yeah, can't wait to get going. But look, big job and. A lot of work to do, but look, hurling at the top level probably is in a great condition. It's just trying to broaden the base of counties at that level, and similarly then going back down through tier two and tier three and trying to develop more, I suppose, participation. But look, that's all ahead. But yeah, can't wait to get going.
Is the main role to obviously the main role is to progress it in more counties in hurling, but do you still need to look at the stronger counties, or in a nutshell, what do you hope to achieve?
I think so. I think look, I think this has to be ahead of hurling for everybody because look, the game is played everywhere. There's issues in I'm sure in Galway and Tipperary in the stronger counties as well. So I think it has to be for everyone with particular focus then on I suppose that line from Dublin to Galway and up and the clubs that are above that in the Taun and Cuchulainn region. So look, a lot of work done, a lot of reports written over the last 20 years. It's kind of aligning all those pieces of data with demographic studies that have been done recently as well, and looking at the shift in population trends throughout the country. So it's literally aligning all the information that we have with the resources through games and development in the GAA. And this will be a more strategic role. I suppose Martin and Polly Butler previously were doing a lot of coaching courses around the country and going to areas and going in and actually boots on the ground. This is a more strategic role, aligning what we currently have in the GAA to those areas under, I suppose, the auspices of a strategic plan.
And it is a role uh, hurling fans and probably GA were probably crying out for to get someone over this, and it's something that it's been needed too.
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, I think we have a fantastic game, or like I referenced, been to the All Ireland semi-finals last year, and I suppose most games that we go to, but like coming out of the matches and absolutely buzzing because the game is absolutely brilliant, like so it's in a great state at the highest level. It's just trying to broaden that base out. I think Jarlath, president of the GA, has come out publicly as well and said that he wants to get more teams at the higher level. So look, that's part of the remit as well. So again, tier one, trying to broaden the base of Lee McCarthy teams. Tier two, as regards the Laois Offaly's, which I suppose I was working with last year, trying to increase the standard there across there's 9 counties in that. And then with the tier three counties, trying to develop more clubs and more participation. And look, there's a huge hunger for it. So I can't wait to get going and engage with people.
Great stuff. Well, the very best of luck in that
Yeah,
role,
thanks a
Willie.
million.
And Craig, I presume you're going to tell me everything you know now that's going on in Galway hurling at the minute.
I'd say you know more than me, Paul, now at the minute. But yeah, look, I suppose it's an interesting time for Galway hurling fans at the minute with me all back, and I suppose everybody's coming with great hope leading into the first game. Obviously on what the back of Micheal did in the past, and yeah, look, I suppose he's brought in a big panel as we just mentioned there before we came on here. The 57 he carried going into the last 5 6 weeks or more. Um, so he's got his chance now to see a lot of them, I suppose, and this is where it starts now. Look, he'll probably like in the past, anyway, the 4 years he was there, he'll mix the experience with the ones he wants to see, and over the next couple of weeks and 2 or 3 months with the league, it's a big opportunity for those players in the fringe that want to, I suppose, make a statement for themselves and hold on, get themselves in the panel for championship. And I suppose it starts now on Sunday in Pearse Stadium against Tipperary, and there's loads of lads. There's loads of lads we spoke about Paul here in the past over the last 2 or 3 years that have impressed during club championship, and now is their time to step up and show Micheal and the lads their worth, I suppose, and why they should be on a county panel or on a county team. And no better way to start it off than Tipperary on Sunday.
In fairness, Craig, like if we haven't heard much at all out from the camp. It's been kept fairly in-house. We've known a few challenge matches against Offaly and against Clare. Apart from that, you haven't heard too much. So it's kind of hard to figure out what sort of 15 they'll even go with this weekend because in the majority, I know that Offaly game, they tried a lot of players in that game.
Yeah, look at it, and I suppose Micheal will be delighted that that is the case, that it's not getting out in the public. And like I know they played the twenties as well the same day they played Clare, and that was ended up behind closed doors. So look at there's a lot of plus about that. The fact everything's kept so quiet, especially with 57 players, that's not easy. A lot of relations, parents, and stuff there that normally bring stories back. But look at it, I suppose leading into the first game, as I said to you, the big thing with Micheal is it's a different scenario than when he came into the setup in 2016. We were off the back of an Ireland final in 2015. The panel was tried and tested. There wasn't really need to add much. It wasn't the case of adding 20, 25 players from your normal panel of the year before and trying to blood in new players. It's a totally different scenario for him. So I'm sure he's intrigued by the whole thing, but also finding the challenge he wanted. And Nolan, Franny, and Aidan will be the same way. Like, and they'll be looking at these unearthing these 5 or 6 players that are so important to Galway going forward that need to add to the talent. And look at, of course, then there's Garage is obviously gone, Joey Cooney's gone, and Ado's gone. So those three will be gone as well, and they need to be replaced. They're very strong panel players. So look at, I suppose the big objective over the next couple of weeks, Paul, is to find those players. And look at, we spoke about it. They are there. The youth is there. And I'm sure Micheal has a bigger picture as well. Like that, it's not just this year that he'll be aiming to build for the next 2 or 3 years and get to the position that Liam Cahill is at now. Like, Liam is in his third year, so he's hoping that this year that they can push on, and the work that he's done over the last 2 years, that the players he's recruited, that he can now focus on them being on the starting 15, I suppose. And that's where Micheal starts. That's where his journey starts, and the lads start on Sunday, that they're looking at this player that maybe, just say, the younger generation, the 19, 20-year-olds that we've been watching on the club scene for the last 12 months or 24 months, that now is their time to step up. And if it's not this year, that Micheal has given them a small few minutes over the next 7 or 8 weeks, that get them onto championship setup, that get them onto maybe being the leader in the years to time.
Big thing too that helps Greg is obviously Micheal being involved in the club championship this year with Glenbridge.
That's exactly it. Like, I was actually thinking of that yesterday evening, Paul, before I was coming on. Like, and albeit he was with Dublin for the last 2 years, he was heavily involved with, obviously, Keane, his own son, is playing with Clarenbridge, so he would have been around the scene for the last 2 or 3 years as well, and he knows everyone inside out. Like, it's not as if he went up to Dublin and he left Galway behind and didn't know what was going on. Like, he's probably been at more club matches than most over the last 2 years, even though he's involved with Dublin. So he knows everyone inside out. Obviously, Cahill's involved in school, so in Athenry, so he's been going to school matches over the last 2 or 3 years. So he knows everyone. Like, and look at Aidan's involved there as well. Like, he'd know the scene fairly well. Obviously, Nolan and Franny's been around. Nolan's been around. They've been training. Like, Franny's been involved with Turlock. Obviously, Noel's been involved with Airport as well in his time over the last year or two. So they haven't been too far away from the whole setup. Obviously, a lot has changed in Galway since 2019. So it has, a good few lads have left the scene as well. In particular, Joe Canning, like, the older generation. So look at it, it's a big task. It starts on Sunday. But look at, like, Micheal, no better man to take on the job. Like, he'll love the challenge. He'll embrace it, and I think that I think on Sunday it'll be different from years gone by with Galway fans. They'll be seeing a different kind of dynamic, and obviously you're going to be seeing players that you mightn't have seen before in a Galway jersey, and I think fans just have to give them a chance. Like, give Micheal a chance. Don't think it's going to be just this year's just going to be all of a sudden a reoccurrence of what happened in 2019, that we're going to be competing and being there in our Ireland semi-final, our Ireland final day. If it is, brilliant. If not, so be it. Give the youth a chance and let it build.
Willie, it's interesting. It's first round of the league this weekend. It's January, and usually I suppose, excitement isn't there for supporters. But when you look at it this weekend, Tipperary obviously want to start well under Liam Cahill after everything that happened last year and get a bounce going again. Galway kind of want to start well under Micheal Donoghue after what happened last year, and I suppose particularly for both teams, they want to get the supporters behind them straight away this year.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good point. I think all teams are the same, aren't we? Like as regards, like you go down through Limerick have their motivations, you go down through Clare their motivations. I met a couple of Kenny lads during the week in town. They have their motivation. Everybody has their own edge as regards to, as you said, get supporters on side and get a bit of, I suppose, flow to the play and understanding who's going on the personnel. I suppose who's going to make it. I think we're yeah, we're really unknown going up to Galway this weekend. I know they've done a good bit of training already, but at the same time they played Laois I think two Tuesday nights ago and hammered Laois. Played Dublin on Saturday. We're beaten kind of across the field. I hear as regards just from watching it on Flubber. So look, and then they play Kerry on Sunday with a completely different team. So I think look, it'll be very interesting to see, I suppose, what Liam names and his management team name. There's a lot of changes as regards with personnel that are gone in Bonner, Dan McCormick. There's big holes in the panel that soldier, and similar to what Greg said there as regards when we all came in. As well, it's a different time to come in now than 15. As regards the team is changed, the personnel has changed, and it's about guys stepping up now. And I think Liam has probably given an awful lot of players the opportunity to step up with some of the teams that he's picked. A couple of guys in the 20s, Aaron Haller and Darren McCarthy. So look, Tipperary supporters are waiting for players to come through and to put their name on a jersey number one, but also, as you said there, get that connection with supporters, because probably it hasn't been there the last couple of years, and we haven't played in Croke Park in 5 years. So like there's a huge amount of things that we need to get right, and no better man than Liam to actually go and do it. But we're heading into a league. We have to get our team finalised. We'll be in Munster Championship before we know it. And pressure is on all ends up for players to step up and take the jersey.
Obviously, in the past 12 months, Willie, there's been a good bit of negativity around Tip hurling. Has it been difficult for you looking on at your own club man, Liam Cahill?
Definitely. Look, I'm a huge supporter of Liam. He's a club mate and a friend of mine for since we were children. So it's not easy but then look, that's the nature of the job. With Tipperary, with Galway, with Kilkenny, with all the Limerick, Clare, being the senior hurling manager and being involved with the Tipperary senior hurling team, it's our expression of identity. It's our sport. It's our I think Tony Kelly referenced it's the religion in Clare. It's the religion in Tipperary as well after last year's All Ireland. So I think look, the pressure is there, and when I suppose getting a job like the tip manager, no better man than Liam to step up and do it. It won't be for lack of planning. It won't be for lack of effort. It won't be for lack of strategy. But like at the same time, we have to deliver, and it's a cutthroat business. So look, looking forward to the weekend. Looking forward to what the players come up with as regards. On Sunday and beyond. But look, the pressure is on. But the pressure is on in every county.
With that, Craig, we're obviously seeing a different side to the league this year with 7 teams in. It's Limerick who have the bye this weekend. Clare play Kilkenny in Cusack Park on Sunday, and Cork play Wexford, and Galway Tipperary then obviously the third game. Definitely a better structure in this year's league.
Yeah, without a doubt, like it's a lot better. And look at it with no Walsh Cup or no pre-league competition as well. It makes the first game all the more important, and it makes it so attractive as well for managers alike, because it's their first chance to see players. Like, it's nearly the end of January, whereas now you'd normally have about 3 or 4 Walsh Cup games played leading into the first round of the league, so it makes a big difference. It's a bit, look at like, I think this game for both teams is massive as well on Sunday. Like, Willie touched on it there, that look at Tipperary probably didn't have a great Munster Championship last year. They didn't get out of it. Galway, same way, poor championship, didn't make a Leinster final. So this is massive for both teams, and Willie touched on it there about getting supporters on side, and a win on Sunday would really get the momentum going as well. Like, and I suppose in the bigger picture as well, where Liam is looking at, trying to push on in his third year, Micheal is looking at starting off. You need a win as well. Like, it's fairly important for the league that you do end up with a win on Sunday, because like the stronger teams, as you like to call them, the Corks, the Kilkennys, the Clares, and the Limerick, will be leading down or waiting down the line, who are a lot further on than Tip and Galway, let's be honest about it, or Wexford for that case. So there's probably a small bit of a divide there before you even start there, where Galway, Tipperary and Wexford are probably maybe in the bottom 3 at the minute, and then you have the 4 strong teams up top. So look, at you need a win as well. Like, it sets you well for the whole league and as well on Sunday. So at the back of their mind, I know Micheal and Liam are probably thinking to themselves, get a win as well for the whole league side of things. So that's probably playing in the back of their head, as well as trying to experience. That's why you need your experience there as well to make sure you get the win.
It's been interesting too, Craig, because I heard Micheal in an interview and he's been talking about that they want to bring the supporters on this journey. He obviously sees it as a key part of getting supporters back behind this Galway team because last year the numbers weren't there when it came to games. They didn't get them behind the team, but it's something that he's keen to do.
Yeah, and look at it. Look at I suppose when you have a full Galway set backroom team, but Galway team behind you again, like it's probably a must really. Like and like I know myself over the last 2 years, that probably wasn't there. Like there was probably more than Tipperary, there was a lot of negativity around the Galway camp as well, and there was different parts of the year that maybe we wouldn't have seen in the past. When Micheal was there for the 4 years, Micheal was there. It was a roller coaster of probably high emotion, and that probably wasn't there. Like and there was always questions being asked, and you know probably if Henry was good enough or not, and he was coming all the way from Kilkenny, etc. So look, I suppose Micheal's dead right, like, and that shouldn't be a problem. Like, and as long as Micheal gets wins, the supporters will follow Micheal. Like, there's no doubt about that. Like, and look at he's loved within the county, and rightly so. And that shouldn't be the case. And I suppose Micheal referenced that for the simple reason is he's probably pushing his players to get the wins, and the supporters will get behind you, and things will get easier, games will get easier, and like it's no more than Tipperary. It's like Cork, Tipperary, Galway when the going is good, there's no better counties to support, like, and there's always big numbers there, and you'll see that in our final there, semi final, the big counties always step up, like, and Galway is no different.
Willie, what have you made of Galway over the last few years?
Sure, great touch on it as regards. It's just trying to find a connection with the supporters through their play on the field, and that's a really big point as regards. I just an aside, being at the minor All Ireland last year inside Kilkenny and Tipperary, kind of supporters get connected to what happens on the field and get connected with what their players are showing. And we're all, passionate Tipperary men or Galway men or Ballingarry men or Cork men or whatever that is. But like it's, you get represented or you feel connected by what you see and the values that are being displayed. And we're at the minor All Ireland, my dad there last year. And geez, like it was unbelievable. Like it was no hope. Everything was going wrong, but those young men like showed Tipperary supporters, and then equally the Tipperary supporters got behind them. So the only way to connect the supporters is wins by being connected to what's being shown on the field, and is that what we represent, and that's what we're looking for the weekend. So I think it's a really big thing for Liam, for Micheal, for this weekend going forward. Just trying to get their players to show something, to really go for it. We are where we are, I think, was the comment Liam made last week as regards in relation to where we actually, the lie of the land and our disappointment over the last 2 years. But the only way to change that is by on the field and what comes off. And again, you're tested more in these league matches. Galway, Salt Hill the weekend is going to be tough. It's going to be, it's raining outside here at the moment. I'm sure it's going to be very windy up there. Like these are, it's tested. It's not a test of your hurling skill. It's a test of ultimately what's inside you and how you compete, and that's the real big thing. Like we can talk about tactics, we can talk about the nuances of what happens in All Ireland semi-finals and everything down the road. But at the same time, these are grit, it's aggression, it's resilience, how young players stand up to it. And again, what happens if a guy knocks two balls over the bar and you're playing wing back? What are you going to do? You're going to the next ball is the real key. So playing in the moment is a real big thing. So really looking forward to this league. The vibes coming out of Tip are, look, we are where we are, but let's see. Let's see if these young men can step up. We're after being in we're after winning 2 of the last 4 minor All Irelands. I know it's under 17, so that gap is a bit more. We have those 20 teams that Liam won with going back 6, 7, 8 years at this stage. But our under 20 teams every year are top 2, 3, 4 in the country. So we should have players. So look, I'm a Tipperary fan, number one, and I'm just hearing the vibes coming out at the moment. We're looking forward to I suppose, getting behind the team, but they have to show something, and that starts on Sunday.
In the last few years, Willie, it's been disappointing from a Galway perspective. But the one thing we would probably say, particularly in attack, for the delivery into the forwards, there has been a lot of hidden hope. And obviously, it's going to be hard in the league when you're playing in these weather conditions to see a style of play develop early, but it's something that Galway supporters will want to see.
Definitely, and I think it's I suppose young players now.
Sorry, Willie, you're just gone there.
Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah.
I was throwing on the headset and it didn't work there. I was trying to avoid any kind of little kids coming in through the door. But yeah, no, look, I think players are coached within an inch of their lives as regards, or they're looking for instruction, they're hungry for information, they're hungry for, again, a style of play and something they can associate with. And then similarly in training, they're hungry with simulations as regards to actually go through that. It's fine talking about, oh, we want to play two inside, we want to play through the lines, we want to get our line of sight passing right, we want to whatever I suppose your pillars of coaching are within a setup. But like, you have to simulate it, you have to go through it, you have to understand it. And I suppose that's where maybe Liam has a little bit of an advantage over Micheal, although obviously Micheal was there going back and successfully winning the All-Ireland. But at the same time, I think it's just again simulating those passages of play. Galway have they're fantastic hurlers, and I'm saying the Tip have won 2 of the last 4, but Galway won 4 or 5 minors in a row, so there should be loads of players there. But it's bringing them through, simulating situations, coaching them to play, I suppose, the Galway way or the Tipperary way or whatever that looks like, but using the resources that are there. Because I think you said there was 57 guys in the panel up to last week. It's cut now. Like, there's a lot of talent in Galway. There's a lot of players. I've watched a good bit of the club championship. You even see Loughrea playing the Fina in the semi-final. You see some quality operators there. So look, I think it's really important that Galway, I suppose, yes, get a style of play. I think no better man than Micheal to actually go and do that, and with Franny coaching the team. So look. We're all kind of, we don't know. I suppose that's the bottom line. Everything will become clearer in the next while. But as you said there, the championship is coming down the road. Tip need a good championship. Galway need a good championship. We equally need 2 good leagues as well. So look, again, it's wait and see. But I suppose with no Welsh Cup, with no Munster League here at the moment, we're working off challenge matches. We're working off, we're working in the dark ultimately. So look, again, Sunday will tell us a lot more. But as I previously said, it's about grit, it's about determination, it's about, I suppose, showing behaviours on the field that can connect supporters and get, again, in Tipperary's instance, like we were outnumbered 5-1 against Cork last year. That's not where I see Tipperary hurling our supporters. So look, we're hoping to improve on all aspects of that.
And it is a thing, Craig. In the podcast last year, we probably referenced it a lot, even for a player like Conor Whelan. The service just wasn't there last year.
Yeah, look, we did definitely, for sure. In particular, that Dublin game, that he was working off scraps a lot of the time, and he had to come out and try and get his own ball. And I suppose that's not how who plays or how he wants to play anyway. Like, and look, I suppose that's a big part of how Micheal's going to have to, and Noel and Franny and Aidan are going to have to look at the whole overall structure and try and work a game plan into this new panel they have. Like, and I suppose in the past, the game plan that would have worked well for those was based around probably 4 your main forwards were 6'3", 6'4", like you had Johnny Glynn, Joe Canning, Niall Burke, Joey Cooney, and they're all not there anymore. So, like, that's where Micheal and the lads are going to have to put their heads together and write, what do we come up with the new team, setting the new team over the league, and then work a game plan. And look, Micheal was big in his time, and I was there anyway. I was big in his time at standards and getting the standards up and the basic standards of work rate, intensity, just absolute giving it your all. That needs to come first, because that wasn't in Galway for the last 3 years, and that wasn't being shown. And I suppose whether that was management's fault or players' fault, nobody can tell. It's in the past. But I know going forward, and Willie touched on it there, like Sunday, Pearse Stadium, day after the football match. Like, I know I was talking to Pat Kearney after Galway played the 20s there on last week in the challenge, and he said it was destroyed. The pitch was destroyed. So you can imagine what it'd be like after a storm. It feels like there's a storm outside now, Willie. You're right in what you're saying. There's a storm coming tomorrow. And Pearse Stadium after the football game on Saturday evening, like, it's not going to be a highlight of the hurling career, I think, on Sunday in terms of hurling wise. But you need to grit down. You need to just do the basic standards. Micheal always spoke about them. Get the standards right and work rate, intensity, and just working your absolute ass off. And I think that needs to come first for Galway, and then let the lads work on the game plan that suits that team best, because the game plan that would have worked for Micheal in the 4 years previous with Galway is not going to work with this team because the same personnel aren't there. And I think it's very hard. You're not going to find another Joe Canning or Johnny Glynn or Joey Cooney or Niall Burke in those areas. So I suppose that's the biggest challenge, Micheal. And look at, I know Willie touched on it there as well. Like we had a minor success of 4 All-Irelands in a row. They're at the age now where Micheal has to unearth them again. As you touched on, Willie, they were only 17. Like, so how have they improved over the last 4 or 5 years? Where are they now in terms of the Galway Club Championship in their own selves, size-wise? Have they pushed on into county hurlers? Micheal, the lads, they need to find them, try and progress them now into senior hurlers. Like, they were good enough to win their Ireland minor. There has to be something in them. You're not going to get it out of them all, but you're going to have to try and break a few of them through. So I suppose that's where the management really need to see where Galway hurling is at and where it's been for the last 3 years, you could say.
Big news came there during the week, Craig. David Burke back for another year. Huge positive. None of us wanted to see him finish his inter-county career after what happened last year against Dublin.
Yeah, look, we touched on that, Paul, towards the end of the year. Like, we probably knew after the red card that he wasn't going to go out like that, and just wasn't in him. But look at it. His ACL recovery, I suppose, proved the man he was, like how quick he was coming back. And look, that's just the way he is. Like, he's a true athlete. He's an athlete through and through. So look, he looks after his body really well. And look, at when you get to that stage, it's no more than Bonner Maher there. Like, he played so long with Tipperary. He looked after his body really well. And I suppose the hurler that does that now will probably, like Brendan Maher is another prime example with Tipperary. Pádraig Maher, unfortunately, obviously had to retire but he would have been another player that would have been able to play on. But David's the same way. Look, he and I suppose the Thomas's thing as well, like, definitely kept him going for longer. Like, he was hurling all through most winters there for the last couple of years, and it's a massive plus for Micheal, massive plus for Galway. It's a great experience to have around the place. It's hard to believe he's actually 35, just gone 35. I actually won a minor with him back in 2005. Seems a long time ago now. So he was only 16 at the time, but look, he's a leader. You need a few of them around the dressing room, especially with the likes of GMAC and Joey and Edo gone. You need to try and hold on to as many leaders as you can. Like, and he just lives and breathes hurling, and in particular the maroon and white of Galway. So look, it's a massive plus for me. I'll have him around again.
It's huge, Willie, because we talk about trying to get younger players through, but to have a player like that in around the dressing room for these younger fellas.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, Willie.
No. I was going to say that, like, would say with guys like David Burke and Noel McGrath, and like you referenced a good few of the other Tip boys and the Galway lads as well. Like, these are amazing individuals. Like, as regards to give their life to this, for no monetary reward, as regards we look at the professional sports and how easier it is to actually go and get your body right. These are amateur athletes working every day. Managing family situations, managing relationships. Like, they're amazing individuals, and it's not called out enough, in my opinion, as regards the quality of the people that dedicate their lives. And it's not like the players at the top level. It's 100% or nothing. It's more than 100% or nothing, because like you do 90% and you're not even getting in the gate, and that's the importance of, I suppose, those people around the panel. I referenced Noel McGrath, like Ronan now. Is becoming, I suppose, a more experienced player for us. John McGrath similarly. So, like, look, it's we need them. We need these guys to step up. Delighted to see Noel is committed to another year. In light of, I suppose, Bonner and Dan and a couple of others stepping away. So, like, look, it's all on Sunday. It's all on the now. It's all on the moment as regards of what's happening currently. I think with the likes of Noel McGrath, I think he started centre forward in one of the matches last week. So it'll be interesting to see the team. And I suppose that's my next point. Like, again, I've no idea what the Tip team will be on the weekend as regards, because there was 2 completely different teams picked last weekend. And but again, I'm really interested. I think Owen Connolly was named at fullback going back against was it Laois or Dublin. So, like, they're trying things. Brian O'Mara was cornerback against Laois. So, they're really, really good player that I suppose that is looking to step up and nail a place on the team. So, look, really interested in the team. But I think with that experience, with the quality of the people around that. Another interesting point as regards from a Galway perspective, I feel, is Eamon O'Shea. And Eamon, I know, was there last year. like really, obviously top level coach, top level person. But it will be interesting to see if I suppose if he can embed some of his ideas. And again, I know he was there last year, but I think he previously worked with him or with Micheal in different incarnations going back the years. So really interesting to see the effect that
Do you
has
think
on.
it'll do you think it'll take nearly a year or two for Eamon to get his ideas across?
Uh, yeah, possibly yes. But I do know Micheal probably again has that relationship with him. Probably Henry didn't going back. So look, it might be it might be a small thing, but I think it might improve Galway. He's an exceptional coach, and again, just really interesting to see the personnel that are picked on the weekend.
This is an interesting one. I'll bring you in, Craig, first, and then you can add what you think, Willie. Do you think the Galway Tip rivalry's gone after what's happened over the last few years, Craig?
I wouldn't say it's gone, but it's definitely not as intense as it was like back in those semi-final days. Um, and I think a lot of the main players, not the main players, but a lot of probably the majority of players are gone from that as well. But look, I think it'll always be there to a certain degree. It was there in the past before us, back in the 80s and that in the early 90s. The tip rivalry was there in Galway, and I think that'll be always, that won't go too far away. Back in 01, they're in the final. Look, it'll always be there. There'll be some counties that'll just, they'll always have a bit of a bite to it, and I think Galway and Tip are just two of those. Um, so like Sunday be no different, I think. And actually, you've seen so many slugs down through the past with Tipperary and Galway, in particular Perry Stadium, in the league. It's they're nearly renowned for it. So I don't think Sunday will be any different.
It definitely does feel, Willie, like it's backed off to what it used to be because for a few years there, no matter if it was league or championship, the intensity was there. Probably down to Tim not meeting that much over the last few years.
Yeah, but I suppose not meeting in the big crunch games, like that's a rivalry is only as strong as I suppose the what's on the line. And like I go back to again when I first started going to matches 87, 88, like it was bitter, it was raw, it was intense, but like both counties were fighting for their right to get to the pinnacle. And all the different eras, the Tony Keady affair, there was so much. There was so much bite to it, but everything was on the line. And that's, again, Galway won 87, 88. Then Tip obviously came in that famous match in 89 in the semi-final. Like, rivalries are very much based on what's on the line. And that's, I suppose, that we have become less relevant, I suppose, in the hurling world with the emergence of Limerick, Clare, Kilkenny are always there, Cork are coming. So again, it's up to us to really show that we want to be there, but you're based on what you deliver. And look at Tip and Galway haven't delivered the last couple of years, haven't delivered against each other because there was nothing really on it bar that quarter final in Limerick, which was it was a pretty damn squib as regards 2 years ago. So look, it's we'd love to get back to that. I think it's important for both counties to be competing, but like weren't they great days as regards the semi-finals, and even when you're really relevant, the Tip Kilkenny rivalry going back, the Galway Kilkenny rivalry across Leinster and All Ireland's in 12 or whatever it was. So like look, it's very important, but to get back to that. But the only way to get back to that is performance on the field, and it's up to both, I suppose, counties to get back there. But again, that's what makes the hurling year so interesting, because we're all, again, diehard supporters. We all want our counties to be in that space, and it's an interesting piece.
Quite a large proportion, Craig, of Galway players involved in Fitzgibbon. ATU Galway, unfortunately for themselves, just got drawn into that group of death. Got Mary first, ran them really close, lost by 2 points. Last night it looked like they had UL, but UL finished strongly and defeat them 327 to 316. That knocks ATU Galway out of the Fitzgibbon. Surprisingly, University of Galway beaten in the first two games, MTU Cork and UCC. They need a UCD result against MTU Cork to keep them in the competition, and they're still probably asking for a lot there. So in one way, it's disappointing for those players in the Fitzgibbon Cup, and but in one way, then Galway are probably going to get the full advantage of getting some of those players back now.
Yeah, I suppose first of all, it's a big shock with the university in particular. The first day out against Cork IT or ATU, whatever, ATU Cork, like that was a big shock. I thought they totally underperformed that day for what they had. I know Gavin Lee in particular was fairly good. But like, geez, you just imagine you get more out of that college team. Um, yeah, GMIT or ASU Go, they were very strong. I thought they did fairly well for the group of death that they had. Great to see Kevin Cooney back as well. He'll be a big part to play for Micheal going forward for the year. I know he only played, I think, against Mary I. He had to come off. He was obviously just getting himself back in. So I think when he went off, that changed the game for Mary I. They ended up getting a stronghold in the game, but up to that ATU were in total control of it. So look at it, it's a lot. There's a lot of players involved, I suppose. Look at it's good for Galway hurling that they're not progressing any further, I suppose. It's a good sign. You'll probably see more of them in the league. I know in the past, anyway, when I was involved, that it's very hard to, as a manager, to be kind of working the loads for both a game on a Wednesday and a game on a Sunday, and you'd probably see the Fitz players early on with the league games coming fairly thick and fast now. From a Galway perspective, anyway, it's probably fairly good. But look, there is other Galway players like Owen Lawless is now. I think he's down in Mary I, isn't he? And
Yeah.
like, there's a
Definitely
few.
Rockland too. Sean O'Hanlon and Dermot Hannafy played last night for UL. Derek played in the first game, didn't play last night as well.
Yeah, so look, there's a lot of players still involved in the Limerick team. So, but look at it, I suppose that's the joys of having 57 down to 49, as you said, Paul. The 49 the panel now, so there's plenty of options there for Micheal, and he'll have loads of different ideas and people he want to see. So, the Fitz is going to be over in a couple of weeks' time. So, towards the latter stages of the league, those Limerick players, or if Galway get through, the college get through, that you'll be able to see them after 2 or 3 games anyway.
How would you view it as a past intercounty manager? Because it's probably the toughest act, Willie, I'd say you'd have when it comes to a juggling act.
Yeah, look, it's really difficult. I even go back to playing days as regards, and I'm sure you can relate to this as well, Craig. Like playing like just 2, 3, 4 matches a week, playing National League matches on a Sunday. Like it's a really difficult time on poor fields, and you can see, I suppose, the effect it has, reload, everything else, I suppose injury risk as regards when guys are at that level, and then everyone's trying to bust themselves as regards to show as regards, be it during the week or on the weekend when you get a jersey. So look, really difficult. It's hard to manage. I suppose I don't know what the answer is, like, and I've asked this question a good few times as regards, is there any way we could move the Fitzgibbon before Christmas? And look, I won 2 Fitzgibbons. I was very fortunate, we would say, with WIT back in the day, and we were beaten in 2 more. But like, it's a fantastic competition. Like, it's brilliant. But I think it squares in too much as regards during the week. I don't think it's given the respect that it deserves as regards playing time for players and managers pulling players and whatever that looks like. But like, I don't think it's given the time, and maybe it is time to look at pre-Christmas, play it, give it time, because it's National League time now, and that's the piece in this. And I think we should be driving our National League to make that better. But it's very difficult to do that both as a manager and a player as regards this time of the year, because you're being pulled from pillar to post.
Already seen injuries like Carl O'Neill, Adam Screeney, and there's going to be more along the way too, because managing load for these players is very difficult around this time of year. But yeah, that's University of Galway. They need a big result tonight to try and stay in the Fitzgibbon Cup. On this, Craig, on the Galway team at the weekend, who do you want to see at 3-6 this year?
Actually, funny one. The only report I probably heard from the whole thing was that Conor Cooney played at 6 against the Galway under-20s. So that was an interesting one, I thought. So maybe Micheal is trying to do something different. But 3-6. Look at, I suppose, Donoghue is obviously going to be in contention for one or the other. I know he prefers to play 6-3. Fintan, of course, is going to be. I think. Look at he's been the best fullback in club hurling for the last couple of years. So maybe give him a shot at 3, see how he goes at 3. And look at it, it'll depend a lot on what way Micheal sets up then as well. Like, is he going to have 6 backs there? Is he going to have 5 backs there? What way the full back line is going to be exposed? And look at the other team, and in particular, there's no real. Is there such thing as a full back in county hurling at the minute anymore? I don't think there is for the last couple of years. You're playing 2 inside, and it's 2 cornerbacks really, opposed to having a full back. So you need someone with pace, speed, and I think the full back that you actually name is more than likely going to be playing nearly out on the 45 or centre back position, or maybe across a 4 half back line, and it's nearly a case of the full back is going to be going out playing a centre back position, and the centre back is going to be roaming free. Almost like a quarterback we referenced it before in the past, Paul. So I don't know, is the actual modern full back kind of gone out of the game at the minute? Is it just 2 cornerbacks marking 2 corner forwards and a 2-man inside line, or maybe even a case of a 1-man inside line, and that full back of catching a high ball and driving out, and that's gone. Like, I don't think that's there anymore now, unless things change over the next couple of years, which they probably will rotate back around again to something different. But to answer your question, Dahi, Finton, obviously GMAC has gone from the panel now. He would have been one that slotted in there. Owen Lawless is a lot of like from Athenry. I think he's really coming along.
Showing really well in the Fitz as well.
Yeah, I think he deserves a chance this year as well to prove himself.
He's never been afforded a chance, to be fair.
No, like, look, he's not around long, I suppose, either. Like, he's still only learning his stripes, so like maybe it's his second year, I think, or that. But look, I think he's a really good lad. Shane Morgan had a good year for Loughrea at 6 this year. So maybe bring him into the setup, give him his time, I suppose. And I know he was there last year, but maybe he might see a bit of exposure this year in the league. And look, I suppose, Paul, there's the Pádraig Mannion has played there as well. Pádraig's played 3 and 6, so he might be open to getting himself on one of those positions as well. But Pádraig is so versatile as well; he can play anywhere in the 6 back. So look, there's loads of options there, I suppose. But
we've seen Keenan trial in midfield as well in the recent challenge matches.
Yeah, midfield, and look, Keenan played a lot of 6 as well. So he did last year. He played a lot of 5. So he's very versatile as well in those 3 positions and can float around. He's played centre forward for his club. I've seen him play full forward for Ardrahan, so he's been all over. Ronnie Glennon's another guy there that's played 6 for his club. Actually played against him last year in the club at 6. He was good. So look at like a lot of those lads you talk about there, Keenan, Ronnie Glennon, they're on to the 3rd year now, 4th year in the panel. So they're starting to be, and with a few of the older lads going, they're starting to step up now and be you could say experienced players at this stage. 4 years is experience. So those lads will be filling up the more experienced spots. Look at Davy's back. Seen Davy play centre back for Thomas's a few times as well. He's very good at that floating role if there's a spare man back there. So, look, Connor has all the attributes to be a 6 as well. So maybe there's something there as well.
It's an interesting one. Not one we predict, anyways.
No.
Just on the 2-man inside, do you see us going back to Bino and Conor Whelan?
But sure, look at like when Bino and Connor were on form there about 2 years ago, and they were getting the quality ball in, they were unstoppable. Like, and they probably were at the time up there with Gillan and Seamus Flanagan. They were probably the 2 most effective forwards in the country at the time. For different reasons, Bino's probably had a topsy-turvy year or 2 there with injuries and stuff like that. It's been very stop-start. Wheelo, as we mentioned last year, he probably wasn't getting the quality of ball he would have been used to. And it probably affected his game. He was nearly coming out the field. Even Henry probably had him floating out to half-forward line a bit more. I think he's most dangerous at the edge of the square. Have him inside, give him space, and going back to 2 or 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when the 2 lads were inside, there was once or twice there, the late up Crow Park, when they were given the space. And I don't know if that's the way Micheal set up or anything like that. But if it is, and you get the 2 boys back on form, they have the potential there anyway to cause any full back line or any 2 cornerbacks a lot of damage. And I'd like to see it played like that. I'd like to see the ball played in quick like that with a 2-man full forward line inside. I think that's where Galway play their best hurling. But look at me, I'm sure Micheal has his own ideas.
Willie, there's been this argument that's went around in the last year or so, and personally I find it absolute nonsense where people say the young hurlers aren't there in Galway. Even if you look at the Fitz, you look at Liam Collins, Tiernan Killeen, players like that, they've been players who've stepped up, and the hurlers are there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think there's huge similarities between both our counties as regards with the hurling populations that we have, with the amount of players that are coming through from underage squads through Fitzgibbon. Like, every team is always littered with Tipperary and Galway players. So I think it's what we're doing with them kind of maybe has to be looked at as regards that. How do we get them through? I'm consistently hearing, oh, this lad's not ready, this lad's not ready, this lad's not ready. Like, have we a system, or have Galway a system to actually get players ready, to be physically right. Because look, the difference between the physicality of I suppose the 25, 26 that have been within a system that are training right to 21, 22-year-olds, the difference in the bodies is phenomenal. So why can't we just work towards, again, having that 21-year-old right, similar to maybe a rugby model as regards, you see the guys entered the Leinster or the Leinster academies, particularly from schools as regards, they're all physically ready because they're essentially in a pre-academy before they get to to where they want to go. So are we doing that? And that's a question I would definitely ask. I think it's also interesting looking at the styles of play as regards, because again, I know we've referenced this previously as regards, it's very difficult to get a style of play in a wet, rotten, windy field in Salthill, which it will be on the weekend. It'll be a game of two halves. The wind will be blowing down the field, and it'll be, again, trying to get if you're playing against it for the first half, you'll be really trying to just dig in, keep the scoreboard down, and then hopefully push on the second half. So like there's a good few bits here, but again, Galway will never not have hurlers. I think Tipperary are the same, loads of players there, and it's just a case of what we're doing with them. And again, back to the management piece as regards, and Micheal has experience in this and bringing players through and bringing them to the ultimate as regards of winning an All-Ireland senior final. So I suppose how he sees it, what he sees in a young fella, how he wants it to go, and then whether the player buys into ultimately what the messages are coming from management. Similarly, on the other side, Liam has pedigree as regards winning minor, winning 20 All-Irelands. He has the trust of the players to actually to bring them through. So they need to, I suppose, step up and get themselves physically, mentally, every way ready to wear the jersey. Because going back to the original point as regards, supporters will connect with what they see on the field, and unless they see that kind of, that Tipperary style or that Galway style, they won't, and there'll be a continuation of what's happened for the last 2-3 years, and in our case 5 years, where we haven't played in Croke Park, which is just a mad stat.
Do you expect to see Darren McCarthy and Sam O'Farrell on Sunday, Willie?
I do. I think with this, and with, I suppose, with the panel that was named going back there pre-Christmas, it's a huge amount of young players. I think Liam is going to throw the dice here. He has to, because the older players are gone now. So he has to. Darren McCarthy, really good player, played well up to the under-20 All-Ireland last year, had a fantastic club campaign with his club, had a fantastic Harty campaign with Nina CBS. So look, he's a quality player, but again, you need to get the miles in the clock as regards at this level to really push on. And he has all the attributes. He has everything. He's physically strong as well. So I'm really excited about, again, seeing him. But then you talk about the two-man full forward line and the pace, the power of the two cornerbacks that are stuck inside now. So, an inter-county cornerback is a lot different than a Harty Cup cornerback or a club cornerback. So it's a complete step up in level. So it's just interesting to see how he goes. Similarly, Sam O'Farrell, good lad, by all accounts, regards from my Nina connections. And look, it'll be interesting to see if he does step. But I was interested, again, I referenced it previously, Brian Amaro was playing 4 against Laois, and I think against Dublin as well. So that's an interesting one for me. 6'3", 6'4", predominantly centre back with UL going back the last 4 years. But like, it's that's they're going after that modern, I suppose, cornerback that has pace, power, and can hurl as well.
This is the time, Craig, where you just have to throw these young fellas in.
You do, and I suppose that's where Liam is probably in a small bit different position than Micheal is. That he's in year 3, whereas Micheal is just starting off. Like if you reference 3 or 4 the younger lads that we would see, Paul, in the club championship there in the last year, like you're talking about Aaron Nyland, Sean Murphy from Clarenbridge. You have Darren Shaughnessy from Loughrea, obviously in the final this year, and you've Rory Burke from More and More. There are 4 lads to me now that Micheal, like, you look at them and you're saying, right, 2026, 2027, and Willie referenced it there. What's going wrong with the 17, 18-year-olds that are winning and not making it onto the county scene? Like, and I suppose we've seen a lot there in terms of club championship and even Fitz to a certain degree of lads that are performing really well under 20 championships, and why aren't they making it onto the senior grade? And I think that the senior grade, and we touched on this a few times as well, the S&C side of things is such a big part of everything now. Like you don't even, I wouldn't say you don't have to be the most skillful hurler ever, but if you're very physically strong S&C wise, you'll get away with a lot of stuff now, the way the game has gone. And I suppose that's where so many hurlers fail that they don't make it onto a senior inter-county setup because they don't do the S&C and like we've so much potential in the county, just like Tipperary have, very, very similar in all those underage success, etc. And big county, big numbers, a lot of clubs, but we're not getting them onto the final hurdle of getting them onto the inter-county panel. I think S&C has got such a big part of it now. And I even see Jack there myself, my own club man. When he joined the panel in 17 to what he is now, he was a whippet when he joined in 17, and now he's a strong physical cornerback, and you'd hate to mark him, and he's just grown S&C wise. And look, as Willie mentioned it there, it's a massive, massive dedication. And I think the dedication of being in the bubble of going to training and going to all the meetings and spending the hours, and if you're going to an away game that you'd be gone at 8 o'clock in the morning, you might be back to 9 o'clock at night on Sunday, and you're missing weddings, etc. That's only part of it. The stuff you do yourself, the S&C side of it, the gym when nobody sees it, to get to that level, that's the biggest part of the bubble. And I think that's where so many young lads fail these days, that they're not willing to put in the effort outside the bubble, the stuff that nobody sees in your own club gym, and the days you're not supposed to be training, you're doing the extra gym, and that's where you need to succeed. And I think that we've so many players in Galway at the minute, just like Tip do, and those four in particular, they have the potential to be the next Joe Canning or be the next top player in Galway. And it's just, will they put it in? And I think that's where I'm hoping, and I think that's where Micheal is so good, and Franny and Aidan and Noel and even Eamon, that they'll get it out of these lads and they'll bring them to the next level, and they'll push them and make sure that they do bring it. And that's where the 49 players that are there, there's so many young lads there that can step up to this grade. And it's not just about being fired out in Salt Hill at 3:30 on Sunday and see how you go. It's fucking making sure you do that effort and put in the gym and put in the extra running that'll make you get there and make you stay there as well. So there is a lot to it.
Yeah, in relation to Aaron Island, it's sort of a sad side of things on the injury front with him at the minute. He obviously had that long-term hamstring injury for the under-20s last year, then came back and did the hamstring again for Clanbridge, so he had to go and get surgery in London this year, and he's only back running now, and he's in a race against time to be fit for the under-20 championship this year. Still in Leavenscert too, so would have actually been paired to the Pres Athenry team this year, that are in the Connacht final, so it's been a fairly devastating last few months for him, so hopefully he can get back on the field. Craig, for Galway, who's the bolter this year for you?
Look, you're always going to have your strong spine and all the lads that are still there. They're all still there, the likes of Davy, the Conor Coonies, the Manions, Wheelo, Dahi, Aina Murphy or Darragh and goals, and they're around a while now. I can't wait to see Kevin Cooney get back into the fold again. I thought he was really just hitting his prime before he got injured 2 years ago. He was a big loss to Galway last year. Ronnie Glennon, obviously, Keenan, Sean Linan, they're all the soldiers that'll all be there. I suppose the lads I'd like to see come through are probably, look at Aaron is obviously a massive, obviously he's having his tough time at the minute, but look at those tough times will make you stronger. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Just get his hamstring right. Don't want to be worrying about under 20 championships or any of that sort of stuff. He's so young yet. Get it right proper this time. And I know, look, it was no fault of his own. I know the last time he did it, when he redid it again for Clarenbridge during the summer, that he had everything done to a T, but just make sure it's 100% right, get himself back right. Aaron, Sean Murphy, Darren Shaughnessy, I thought he had a great club campaign, probably not his best semi-final.
Darren's actually been let go by the panel.
Yeah.
He was let go on Monday night.
One of those, yeah. But look at, he's young as well. He's only 19, so he's one for the future there. Rory Burke from Ormore, really like him. Came across him.
Kept Shane O'Brien scoreless in the Fitzgibbon.
Yeah, he's a really good player, very strong. He's S&C is absolutely on. He's a very big, strong player. Owen Lawless, we mentioned earlier on, I think he's a lot to offer. Seen a good bit of him with Athenry this year. They just happen to be playing out in our pitch a good bit, so I've seen a good bit of him. I think he's a really good a good plus to the panel for me all this year. Obviously, he's been around the scene for a while now, but I'd like to see him get a real crack at it this year. On top of that, then I suppose Colin Malloy, I thought he had a really good club championship. I'd love to see him get a crack at it as well. See how he goes in the league. Other than that, probably Gavin Lee. I think he's had a good Fitzgibbon so far as well. 2 good games. Kind of had a great burst onto the scene. In his first year, probably quite time since that. But I think Micheal being Clarenbridge man, he might get the most out of Gavin now as well.
Yeah, and you obviously have Declan McLaughlin back fit this year too, which is big positive there. On it, Willie, who do you think is destined to have a 2025 where they're just on it for Galway?
Like it's I suppose just to comment on the Iron Island piece, because again, as hurling fans, we're all waiting for the next guy to come, and he's been heralded for the last while, and I've seen a good bit of him. Fantastic player, so he just needs to get himself right in that respect. Like I really like his brother, and I know it's I just think he's a really good player. I think he's again, it's trying to find that best position. Is it inside? If the ball is not coming right, he's not the man inside as regards. And if he's centre forward, he's obviously good at floating and good at picking scores from outside and pulling centre backs out. But in that area as regards, with 4 defenders around there now, or it's a very clogged up area, so it's a difficult place to play when it really turns up on the big game. So it's interesting. I think obviously Gareth McNerney being gone is a huge loss. Again, I would have only seen him through the latter stages of the big games, and in fairness to him, he always delivered in those games for Galway. So I think 3 and 6 is obviously the big positions for Galway. Similarly to Tip, like as regards what does Liam do as regards does he put Ronan at 3? Does he put Ronan at 6? He's as I said, he's tried Brian O'Mara in the corner. Owen Connolly's been tried at full back. I like Ray McCormick from Borrisoleigh. I know he'd a really good campaign with his club when they won the Munster Club and were beating the All Ireland against Ballyhale 2 or 3 years ago. My own club man as regards Dylan Walsh hit 6 points in play against Kerry last Sunday, and I look again, it was probably the weaker of the teams that were picked there, but I'm really looking forward to seeing him. He had a brilliant club championship last year, so I'm just hoping that he will break through. Seamus Kennedy coming back, I think, is a really big piece for us as well. Huge athlete, huge personality, and just really good fella around the place. So that's a huge addition to us. So again, Galway perspective. Again, it'll be interesting to see with Micheal or who he backs. That's the big piece in this. Like Greg went through the list of players there and everyone that he thinks. But again, it's what they've shown the last while. What Micheal sees, I suppose, is the real important thing. Because again, I see something different to you, what you see in a player. And look, interesting times ahead. But I think it's again, we'll know a lot more after the weekend. And I know, again, we've referenced the poor field and the quality, but we'll just see what managements are thinking, re-setups, re-players, who they're picking. And like I said, they're just managing low then around Fitzgibbon is a massive piece too.
Yeah, I think we'll know a lot more when we see these two 26s released, because even to try and guess this now, it is guesswork at the minute. Just finally, to get the final say on Sunday, what are you expecting Sunday, Craig, and who's going to come out on top for you?
Really curveball question there. To be honest with Paul, it's going to be very close, I think. Again, it'll be just pure pie in the sky trying to guess the 26 or anything like that. I'm looking forward to seeing Garrod O'Connor, actually. I think he's really stood up to plate for Tip over the last few years, and he's coming to be one of the main players. Connor Bowe the same way. John, these type of players for Tip now are actual leaders. Like they're the likes of the Ronnie Glennons or the Keenan Fahey's. They're at the same age, so like they're getting to the stage now where they're turning into leaders. So it'll be nice to see those. It's great to see Seamus Kennedy back from the ACL as well. I remember watching that game, and it was, for a lad that just gave so much in terms of effort with football and hurling for something like that to happen to him at the latter stage of his career. Carl Barrett will be a big loss around the place as well, in terms of experience around the dressing room for Tipperary and that. So look, I'm hoping to see a full open game. Whoever starts in terms of getting their chance, that they go out and just go at it. And it's going to be a bit of a dogfight. So whatever happens between both teams, that you just see loads of intensity, loads of effort, and loads of tackles, because that's all it's going to be this time of year. Loads of tackles, loads of effort. See where, I suppose, both managements are. The players are backing the management in terms of effort. If you get a big effort out of both teams, that there's very little in it, and Galway win by a point or two, I'll be happy enough with that.
We'll take that, Willie.
Yeah, no, look, and similarly, but I think, look, either way, and again, we're both looking for results. We're both looking, but again, it's that effort level. It's that something that we can associate or pitch our hat on and go, okay, right, he's after showing something there now. Liam and the management team are after showing something by the team they pick. So it's effort. It's nothing else the weekend, and like lads will be looking for tactical instruction and everything. Look, that'll go out the window because there'll be a lad so close to you, hitting you from both sides, really kind of trying to get their jersey, and that's the importance of the league. So I think Tip are going to win. So it's we'll see. No, look, it will be interesting, but again, we're measuring on effort here.
I suppose the last thing you need, Paul, anyway, for both sides is that you go off and you have a one-sided affair and a team gets beat by 10 or 12 points or 15 points, and it just sets you up bad for the year going ahead. And I think that's the last thing you need. Like if it's a night close encounter, management see the best of both sides, that it sets, no matter what the result is leading in, obviously it'll be nice for both teams to win, but it'll set you up nice for the league. But if it's a one-sided affair, it's just not a great start to the whole thing for either side.
Oh, we do have time for on this evening's show. Thanks a million to Willie and Craig for coming on to this week's podcast.
Cheers, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. See you later.